Welcome to week 2 of the 2020 WebCenter Olympics. So happy you could all join us. We're going to be talking a little bit more about how to get your business launched with web solutions. I know last week we talked a little bit about getting organized with our schedule books. We talked a little bit about the contest itself and the overview. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit more in depth in terms of strategic planning, action planning, goal setting, as well as how to start the contacting process. We talk a lot about sources and candidates and who can I approach. So tonight we're really going to talk about that beginning phase of getting started with your web center business. And as we move forward over the next couple of weeks, we'll talk more about qualifying prospects and qualifying appointments. We'll talk about the sales process as well as our digital marketing products and services, the sales cycle, how to follow up. But tonight we're going to go ahead and just kind of review real quick about one of the most important tools that you've got at your disposal, and that's your appointment book, right? Whether you are using a digital calendar like a Google Calendar, your iCalendar, or a paper calendar, it doesn't matter what you're using. The most important thing is that you use it, right? You should know all of your upcoming GMTSS events. So as you're going through and scheduling appointments for candidates for web solutions or other retail segments and divisions, or even HBPs and UBPs and plan showing environments, you need to know when you're working, right? You need to know what evenings that you're working and what events are happening. But you also need to make sure that you are scheduling your business. Too many times I've heard over my career as an unfranchised owner that this is a part-time business, not a spare-time business. And what that means is that when you've got a part-time business, that you still treat it as a profession. You've got a schedule where you're going to show up to work and you're going to do the necessary tasks and activities to be successful. When it's just a spare time business, really that's just a hobby. You're trying to fit it in here and there and hoping for customers, and you're hoping for maybe some appointments, and maybe you'll follow up when it's convenient to your schedule. But the fact of the matter is that everyone is busy. Everyone's got other obligations, and it's too easy to let those things take precedence in your schedule. So it's so important to make sure that you block out the necessary time to reach your goals, right? So whether that's your unfranchised business or your web center business, you want to make sure that you have that time allocated in your calendar so that you can make sure that you stay consistent with the necessary tasks to achieve your goals. Now, we talk about scheduling time during the week to have your home business presentations, your unfranchised business presentations, your GMTSS events, but also when are you available to have your website demonstration appointments, right? Your appointments with product specialists, as well as having times in your calendar that you can reach out to your candidates, right? So you all have a list of possibilities for your unfranchised business. You all have a list of candidates for your web solutions business. You need to have time allocated where you can do some reach outs. Now, maybe you're doing some call workshops once or twice a week with team members and prospects in the pipeline, and that's fantastic. But you also might need to carve out some time during your day. That might mean that you need to schedule some time before work hours, maybe during your lunch break, maybe during some break times, or right after work, where you have the ability to reach out to some candidates, whether it's face-to-face or on the phone or sending out some messages, but allocate some time for that because it is so important. All too often, people's schedules get booked with other appointments, other people's appointments, right? You have someone contact you, they email you, they call you, they send you voicemails about things that they need for them, but your priority are the things that you need to achieve your goals. So you want to schedule time to be active in your business. Now, again, you might take a lunch break. Maybe you've got an hour lunch break, but you take 30 minutes to reach out to candidates for your web center business. That's going to be important time invested into your future. Maybe you finish work around 5 or 5:30, but 6 o'clock, there might be a business after hours by a local chamber from 6 to 6:30 or 6 to 7 at a local business. It's important to have all that. So scheduling your time can help you succeed in your business. So that's one of the problems that hold us back, right? Is knowing when we're working. But the other problem that is a limiting factor really in your success is your strategy, right? You might have a goal and you might have objectives and you might have tasks, but do you have a plan? Do you have a plan for your success, right? Now, we all have the getting started guide and the 2 to 3 year plan for our unfranchised business, but do you have one for your WebCenter business? So let's talk a little bit about your short-term goals versus your long-term goals, right? So you've got your materials. You've downloaded the necessary items from MAIC411.com or support materials. You've got your schedule blocked off, right? Now it's time to make a plan for profitability. The first thing is reaching your short-term goals by retail profits, right? Some of those short-term financial goals that you can accomplish through retail sales, and then also knowing your long-term goals. And your long-term financial goals could be typically handled by increasing your ongoing commissions through the MPCP in your unfranchised business, right? We're talking about that residual ongoing type of income. You want to match your full-time income. You want a career type of income. You want a college fund, a retirement fund. Those can be handled from the MPCP and the unfranchised business. Now, your short-term goals, those short bursts of financial goals that you're looking for, can be accomplished with retail sales, certainly with web solutions. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Right now, in order to make the plan, we need to know what the average retail profit is. And this is for any MA division, right? It could be Nutrimetrics or TLS, or it could be Motives, Shop Financial, or Web Centers. But the idea is that you need to know what your cash flow projections are, right? And what your goals are. So we're going to talk about retail profits and BV and the growth potential, but we need to realize that the average website retail profits are $1,000 US, right? $1,000 in profits are the average. Now, again, it's an average. So you need to also realize that there are some clients that might be only $500 in profit and some that might be $1,500 or $2,000 in profit. Now, if you're looking for more profitability, that's going to come from experience and skills. So our top web center owners and trainers, you're seeing them with their average retail profits being $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 for each website sale. But that's not going to be you out of the gates as a brand new web center owner. It might be $350 or $500 in profit. But let's be honest, for the amount of activity and work that you're putting out, to earn an additional $350 to $500, I mean, that's still incredible retail profits. And that's just getting your feet wet, right? So it's all about the activity. So when it comes to BV, the website sale is 230 BV, and your active website client, depending on which monthly fee they choose, could be 5, 30, or 35 BV ongoing for the lifetime of that customer. And of course, our digital marketing sales, things like search engine optimization, social media, Facebook ads, Google ads, have additional BV and retail profits associated. So take a look at your goals, right? You can split them down the middle between personal goals and business goals. And I want you to think about that. Over the course of the rest of the year, 2020, you should have about 5 to 10 business goals and 5 to 10 personal goals. So I'd like you to list it out, right? Take the time this week, invest it in yourself to really think about what your personal goals are and business goals as it relates to life, right? So right now, business goals, it could be travel expenses to different events, could be putting your business in the black. Maybe you just got started and you want to recoup those initial investment dollars for your Fast Start Kit. How about events and education? How about a moving up seminar for $1,000 for the ticket? How about other events like product seminars, NUOTs, basic fives, local seminars, and things of that sort? What about the shopping annuity? Maybe you want to try more product, right? But cash flow is a little light on the home income side. So you want to make sure that you have some cash flow from your business to support that. And what about helping getting a prospect started? You know, you can take someone through the Web Center internship process to help them create their funds to start their business, right? So you can do that through the Web Center division. Those might be business goals. Now, personal goals could be maybe a family vacation. Maybe you want to take a trip. Maybe you want to go visit family across the country. Maybe there's a seminar you want to go see. Maybe paying off a credit card, holiday shopping, or this time of year, maybe paying off the holiday shopping that's on your credit card. Extracurricular activities. Maybe you like to go horseback riding or climbing or hiking, and you need more equipment or money to pay for different guides or things of that sort. What about one-time expenses? Maybe there's a camp that your son or daughter really wants to participate in for summer and you just don't have the funds. And rather than putting on a credit card, you want to come with the cash from your WebCenter business, right? So those might be some personal goals. So let's just take an example of how this works in terms of goal setting and strategic planning. So let's say you would like to cover your expenses for the upcoming Market America International Convention in Greensboro, North Carolina, August 6th through the 9th of 2020. And I wouldn't miss it, right? And you've got the site set and you've got it blocked off, but you don't have the funds to invest to do that, right? So let's estimate $2,500 in expenses. Now, I'll tell you that a lot of people can do it cheaper than that, but let's just say a gala ticket, $265, 4 nights of a hotel by yourself, not splitting with anyone, flights maybe from across the country, and food and beverage. You're going to look at some expenses, and we understand that. Now, are they tax deductible? Absolutely. But there's going to be initial capital outlay in order for you to have that business expense, right? So how do we cover that cost and achieve that goal with your WebCenter business? Well, let's take the conservative, not the average, but the conservative estimate, and certainly using some of the new MAIC packages available, $500 US in profit per sale, right? So that means that 5 average website sales would completely pay for your trip to MAIC 2020 in this example, right? 5 times 500 would be $2,500 in cash flow to your business, right? Profits. So this can be applied to any goal with a fixed cost, right? You simply take your goal divided by the average retail profit, and that equals the number of sales that you need in your WebCenter business. Now, again, our top WebCenter owners and trainers, they've got the skills, the experience, and they see that that average is now maybe $1,000, $1,500, right? Now, a new WebCenter owner, I will tell you that $500 is conservative. You can do that. So this is a very realistic example. So MA International Convention is 22 weeks away. So if you wanted to have all of your expenses covered by July 24th, 2020, that's 20 weeks. Right? So let's take a look at that. The average sale from a sales appointment with our product specialist is 1 out of every 4. Right? That means that 25% of the calls that come in for sales support end up in a sale. So that means that if you scheduled 4 website demonstrations with a product specialist, you could see 1 sale from that. Right? And that's our average. Now, website sales needed at $500 in profit would be 5. So we take 5 sales needed times 4 appointments is 20, right? So the number of appointments with sales support equals 5, what we need, times the number of the average, which is 4, equals 20. So your aim is to complete 1 appointment with sales support each week. Right? So if you could schedule 1 appointment with sales support each week, over time, that would result in the number of appointments necessary for you to have the sales that would create the profit for you to cover the goal, right? So we reverse engineer it. So you might not just call up someone and set an appointment with sales support. So what is the process? And we've been talking about the consultation appointment, right? The fact find, the data mining appointment, the discovery appointment, so to speak. Well, we know that 50% of the consultation appointments that we have result in a demonstration or an appointment with sales support. So that means for every 2 consultations, 10 or 15 minutes with a business owner, will result in 1 appointment with sales support each week. So what does that mean? Our objective on a weekly basis is to schedule 2 consultation appointments per week, schedule 1 demo appointment with sales support each week. So when we break that down to a daily activity, we want to add 2 new candidates, 2 new business candidates to your list every day. You want to approach 1 to 2 candidates from your list every day to schedule that 10 to 15 minute consultation. If you reached out to 1 to 2 candidates per day, can guarantee that you'll have at least 2 consultations per week, which will result in at least 1 demonstration per week, which would then result in at least 1 website sale per month. At the average retail profit of $500, you would earn $2,500 in retail profit over the next 20 weeks. And that's how we do that. So you want to make sure that you've got your goal written down and that you've done the necessary activity. And you can find this really laid out in our WebCenter Training 101 in your local area, but you can also find this in the 12-week action plan, which you can find on MAWC411.com. So now that you've got a goal and you've got a strategic plan to achieve that goal, now it comes down to identifying who are my candidates, how am I contacting them, and what are the actual appointments. So who, how, and what? So who are your candidates? Well, they're candidates for web solutions. They're candidates for potential retail customers outside of this division, as well as unfranchised possibilities. Let's not lose sight of the big picture. In terms of contacting, we need to have various approaches. And with that, you also need to have your what do you do and what is it? Not only for unfranchised business, but also for your web center business, right? When you're going to go out and approach some of these small to medium-sized businesses. And then when it comes to appointments, you need to know what to say, how to say it, and what to present. And that's what the rest of this contest or challenge period will be, is how to really get things ramped up for you so you can be successful. So last week we talked about having a candidate list, and I'd like to start with a candidate list of about 60. Last week we challenged you to start with a list of about 20 business candidates, but what's equally as important as starting with that names list or candidate list is adding to it. So maybe you've already been going through your list. Maybe you're a veteran web center owner and now it's time to kind of recharge it. You need to continue to add names to that list. So names in our business are like fuel in a car. You can start with a full tank of gas, but once that gas tank empties out, you can't go anywhere. So your business is the same way. You need to make sure that you continue to add possibilities and candidates to your list. So how do we expand your list? And for those people that are just getting started, you're going to have a bigger list up front because you haven't started exhausting those possibilities. If you've been around for a while, maybe it's dried up and you need to figure out ways to add new names. And we're going to give that to you this week, right? The first place I'm going to highly encourage you turn to is your existing unfranchised organization. People that are within your organization, upline, downline, crossline, whoever you can network with. Right? Then we're going to talk about referrals, consumer power, and networking groups. So by getting your team working with you on a candidate list that they may know, you're going to have a source of warm leads, right? And we all know that when there's an existing relationship, it's more likely that you can set an appointment, right? So these contacts are much easier to work through. So you don't want to start with a cold list and just people that you don't know. You need to build a relationship. But if there's already an established relationship, that's a great place to start. And what's in it for your team, right? When your team efforts find those people to network with, you all get credit for the sale and the BV generated, right? If you can identify a web solutions candidate from one of your partners that might know someone who owns a business, well, yeah, the retail profits become yours because you're the web center owner and you're doing the work up front, but the BV that's generated initially and ongoing is not only yours, but it flows up through your entire organization. So it's a win-win. It is a win-win scenario. So it's important to network with your existing organization to find those warm leads of business candidates. All team members start focusing on candidates together. And I would do a conference call, a coring, work with your senior leadership to really get together and sell them on the vision that this is good for everyone in the organization, right? You might have people that are focused on TLS, Shop Financial, Motives, and Nutrimetrics, and they have business candidates or contacts that they already have relationships established, right? Now, let's look outside of your organization. Who do you know that's well connected, right? Who do you know that might be a referral source? Now, they may or may not be interested. Either way is fine, but they could be a potential referral to grow your web solution business. Think of people that are most well connected. Real estate agents, mortgage brokers, insurance agents, waitresses, bartenders, fitness instructors, hairstylists, coaches, community leaders, church leaders, organization leaders, unfranchised owners that specialize in other areas, right? They already have an established network. They are well connected, they're influential, they're credible, and we know that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And when you can get a referral from a trusted, credible source, the chances of a meeting or an appointment are increased and raised. And that's all you're looking for, is to get in front of the right people. Now, we all get in a funk. We get in the habit. We drive the same way to work. We go to the same restaurant for lunch or the same place to get takeout. We go to the same stylist, the same nail salon. We are creatures of habit. So if those businesses are not on your list, shame on you. That's the first place to start, right? We talked about that last week. However, if you're looking to add new possibilities and new candidates, well, you need to start driving a different route to work, right? You need to start going the scenic route. You need to take a different road. You need to go to the different stoplights. You need to go to a different hardware company. You need to go to a different stylist. You need to go to a different convenience store. You need to bump into some new people, because guess what? Through that process, you're going to bump into new possibilities. You're going to build new relationships. So the more businesses and business owners and people that you get to know, and you will ultimately increase your possibilities list, right? It gives you more people to build relationships with. Now, for some people, you might want to join a professional networking group, right? Maybe a Chamber of Commerce event, a BNI, a religious group, community and town groups, online or face-to-face. The idea is that this is established for people to meet other people to refer business to. So if you're not part of some sort of networking group, you're missing a huge opportunity, right? Now, most people don't belong to a networking group because they're not confident in the service that they want to promote. So that is obviously step one. But once you get to the point where you want to build yourself a huge brand, you want to meet people, right? And a great way to do that is through a networking group. So what stops people from bringing up the business or approaching people with web solutions is not knowing what to say. This is all fine and good. I've got a list of 100 businesses in my local market. I know everyone, but what do I say? How do I set the appointment? So we're going to talk about that briefly, right? This could solve it. This is the path of least resistance. It's easier for anyone, whether you have technical knowledge, marketing knowledge or not, it doesn't matter. This can set the right appointments and get you launched off to success. Now, are you going to build some skills in the process? Absolutely. Are you going to have more of a direct approach? Absolutely. You're going to be more professional down the road? Absolutely. But right now, we don't have time to wait in order to build up that skill set to do so. So this is going to bridge the gap. It's the networking referral approach, right? As an unfranchised owner and as a WebCenter owner, are you a business owner? Absolutely. So you need to wear that hat, right? You need to get out there and talk to some business owners. You need to meet them. And when you go to approach them, either face-to-face or on the phone, you can simply use this type of approach. Hi, Mrs. Business Owner. I only have a second. The reason I'm calling is I've been to your coffee shop every week for the past 10 years in your community. I also own a business, but you've been very successful as well. I want to get together to see how I might be able to help you in your business, as well as you be able to help me in my business, right? Maybe we could create some sort of referral relationship. You may or may not be interested in my services, and that's totally fine. However, I'm sure we can help each other out and network. How soon can we meet, or how soon can we get together as business owners, right? As simple as that. If you can schedule these networking meetings, you stand to make a lot of great relationships that can lead you to success, not only in web solutions, but also in your unfranchised business. So let's take a look at those bullet points again. And you've seen this before, right? These bullets come from what? Your basic 5. Prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring, and the call workshop script, right? So you can use the same thing towards your WebCenter business. I only have a second. The reason I'm calling is, and then you say how you know them, right? You edify them, the business owner, right? They might know the right people, right? They've been successful in business. I see your trucks and your signs all across town, right? How do you know them? Why are you reaching out to them? Edify them. I want to get together to see how I might be able to help you in your business. And I might be able to share with you what I do in hopes that we can create some sort of referral relationship. Now, I understand that you may or may not be interested in what I do, and that's fine with me. However, I'm sure we can help each other out and refer each other business. How soon can we get together and connect? I will tell you that most business owners, when you speak that language, are more apt to meet with you because there's something to gain. There's something to win for both of you. You want to learn a little bit about them. They're going to learn a little about you. And then there might be a chance that you can refer each other business. Even if that's just 10 or 15 minutes, it's at least worth it to them because they might get business out of it. And your job at that point is to build a relationship, establish some credibility, find out what they're looking for in the future, find out how you can maybe potentially solve a problem they have, continue to build that relationship, whether it's a sales appointment with a website or a digital marketing product or not, doesn't matter. You might be able to fill a need for shopping annuity with business expenses. You might be able to fill a need with maybe motives or nutrimetrics or TLS or maybe another partner or maybe another business that you're networking with that is unrelated. You can build value because you can connect people. When you can connect people, you establish trust and credibility, and at that, you build value. And when you can build value, now there's something in that relationship that is very, very important long term. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to book an appointment next week to sell a website, but it could end up being 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and it could be 10 websites. The idea is this is how you can establish trust and credibility in your local market just by meeting other businesses to just have a cup of coffee or a drink or a lunch to meet them. It might even be a phone call. Hey, I know you're busy. I'm busy. How about you grab a cup of coffee? I'll grab a cup of coffee. We'll get on the phone. We'll talk for 10 minutes and that'll be it. The idea is that you want to have that posture so that you can start acting like a business owner. And you are. You're an unfranchised business owner. You're a shopping annuity business owner. You might focus on another area of the business and that's fine. Or you could be a marketing professional, right? So you need to have a what do you do because they might ask you, sounds great, what do you do? So if you're just getting started, you can still use your what do you do or your what is it from your Market America unfranchised business, right? I help people convert money they spend anyway into an income so they can increase cash flow. Maybe it's, I work with salons, I work with fitness professionals, I work with, shredding people's debt, whatever it is. But if you're really taking ownership of this, you might be more forward and say, I'm a marketing consultant, a business consultant. I help businesses save money on expenses, increase revenue. Can't wait to meet you, right? But you need to craft that. It's based on your personality and what you're comfortable with, but that's your homework, right? You really got to figure out this power statement. So it ultimately comes down to building relationships with people in person. It creates a stronger bond rather than just a text, rather than a Facebook message, rather than a phone call. If you can get, I say, belly to belly, face to face, there's something about that that can build a relationship faster. It makes it easier to build upon. There's trust, there's credibility, and that goes from the unfranchised business or across website sales. But ultimately, none of this will happen if you don't talk with people, right? So you need to build that relationship, talk with people. If that means it's some phone calling, great. If that means it's some face-to-face, great. If it's some text messaging, great. But the idea is that you want to communicate with people. We're in a people business. Now, treat every challenge as a learning experience. You're not going to do it right out of the gates. You're not going to be perfect every time, but you're going to hone your skill. And communication really is a skill, but you can't develop it without using it. So if you're hiding behind your computer waiting for people to come to you, it's not going to happen. That's not how this works. And I'm not saying that you've got to go out and make 400 phone calls or knock on doors and do cold calling, because that's not the answer either. But you need to be active in your community, smile, say hi, how are you, how is business, right? Start that little conversation to build a relationship and just improve, right? Be normal, be yourself, right? Nothing is disingenuous as trying to be someone you're not. It's awkward and people can sense that. And it's awkward for you, it's awkward for them, right? But ultimately this comes down to really caring genuinely about prospects and candidates. And that's really about relationships. So anyone that is really good at building relationships and honing their communication skills will ultimately succeed. And I think that's the takeaway for tonight, right? So once you've established that relationship, now you can start networking for those referrals, right? It comes down to relationship networking, right? You can take people that you already have a relationship with and then see how you can help them or they can help you, right? And it might sound something like this. Frank, I know you know a lot of people that would be great for me to meet with. And I'm sure that I know a good number of folks that you'd be interested in meeting with as well. So would you be up for exploring how we can help each other out? Let's grab a cup of coffee. You can share with me a little bit about your business. I can share with you my business, and we can see how we can help each other out. How's that sound? How's Thursday morning at 10 a.m.? Right? And that's how networking and professional meetings go. And that's how you will be successful, right? So in those meetings and those networking appointments, what happens, right? Ask questions, learn about them, right? Learn about their family, their occupation, their recreation, their money, their business. Ask them questions from our 15-minute assessments, right? Those consultations. Now, you don't want to memorize and go through all of them. Learn a couple from each, because if you just go through and ask them 60 questions, they're going to feel like they're interrogated, not really building a relationship. So learn a couple questions. How is business going? Do you have a website? What's working well for you? Do you use social media? How's that working for you? Are you using a consultant? Is an agency doing it for you? Are you doing it yourself? How are you managing that? Is someone managing your website, or are you doing it yourself? Right? All these questions come from the 15-minute consultations and assessment sheet. So learning a couple of those in a dialogue, in a conversational aspect, will help you build a relationship, because guess what? People will be attracted when you show that you care and that you're excited and you're interested in their business, right? Who is the most important person in their life? Them. What's the most important business in their life? Their business. And when you let them talk about their business and about themselves, they feel very important. And now what that means is that they hold you in high regard, and you have a lot of value because you care about them. People buy you more than they do a product or service. So it all starts with that relationship. Now, you might not feel like you learn a lot, but you can do some additional research and then reach back out and build that relationship further and schedule the appointment when it seems like a good fit. Now, again, where do you learn some of these questions? Well, the assessment sheets, right? You can find them on MAIC411.com. You can also find them on support materials in your unfranchise.com back office, right? Under support materials, you can just type in web centers and you'll have them there, and you can download them, you can print them, you can reference them however you see fit. But the idea is that most of the material that you need in terms of questions are here. So a lot of people are afraid, like, I don't know the answers to everything. And I'm here to tell you it's okay, because you don't need to know the answers. You need to know the questions. And we've already outlined the questions for you. And the answer is, I think we're able to help you. I'd love to schedule an appointment with a specialist that can address your concerns. And that ultimately is the solution right there. So you don't want to pitch or sell your business. You don't want to pitch or sell a product or a service. You want to ask questions and get to know about them. Wait for the opportunity to present itself, to share your power statement, and then try and schedule the demo appointment, right? Now, sometimes things come up. Well, I already have a web developer. I already have someone doing my website, or websites are too expensive, or I'm not interested in marketing. Whatever it is, whatever objection comes up, never feel like you've got to get defensive, right? This is just a chance to build a relationship, so it's okay. You can always follow up. You can always address other needs or concerns. Right? So to make the most out of a networking meeting, you want to think about them, right? You want to keep them in mind first, not you, not your agenda. You don't want to be the one going to a networking meeting and passing out business cards like you're shuffling a deck of cards and dealing a deck of cards. You want to grab as many cards as you can, build as many relationships, and have introductions is the most important thing, right? So don't be so ready to share and tell your story. Be willing to ask questions and learn about them. Exchange some information. Describe your client that you're looking for and ask them to describe the current client that they're looking for in hopes that you can find a match. And the most important thing is that you focus on appointments. Now, I will tell you that the most incredible way to book valuable, qualified appointments is to go to a networking meeting, meet a bunch of people, and don't have business on the top of mind, meaning to sell your product or service. Focus on the relationship. And then 24 to 48 hours, you can reach out in a call and say, hey, it was great to meet you at the networking meeting. I don't know if you remember me, but I'd love to catch up with you for 10 or 15 minutes and see how we can help each other out. Focus on those appointments, and the fortune is in the follow-up. So it's about appointment leading to appointment leading to appointment that'll lead you to more success rather than that quote-unquote one-call close hoping to sell a product. So It comes down to relationship marketing. Everything in our business comes down to building the relationship. It's one-to-one marketing, right? So listen for people that may have a need, identify that need, share a story or a testimonial. I know how you feel. I know someone who felt the same way, or I felt that same way. And what we found was, and share a little bit of story, and then recommend the product or service, maybe sending a link, product information. But the idea is that you don't want to go from identifying a need going right to, well, you should buy one of my websites, or you should purchase search engine optimization, or I can help you with this, right? You need to bridge the gap with the story, the testimonial, your what do you do, and build more value in the relationship. Otherwise, you just become a glorified salesperson, right? So exchange information, exchange business cards, brand yourself, be that professional, right? It's great for making professional contacts, but the most important thing is not giving business cards, it's getting business cards. Or a lot of times people don't carry cards anymore. They just use a phone and they text you, look you up on social media. You can do the same thing. Hey, look, I just ran out of cards, but I'd love to stay in touch. Let me text you right now. I'll text you my number. Now it's more personal, right? That's going to lead you to more business. It's all about the relationship. So this can happen in person, but it can also happen on the phone, right? It goes both ways. So similar to a networking event face to face, you can make a phone call and schedule a phone meeting to do the same thing, right? Now, don't be too technical. Have a quick way to describe your solution. I like to say something like, we help businesses increase revenue and decrease expenses and increase customer engagement. And we do that through an all-inclusive digital marketing solution. That's it. That's my what is it, right? It could be we provide a better, more affordable way for small businesses to market themselves online, right? That's the power statement. Tell them, my most important person that I'm looking to work with right now is XYZ. Who can I help refer you to? If you were to describe your perfect client, who would that be? And they'll tell you. And your job is to find that client in the next 7 to 10 days. If you can provide a referral in the next week, you become very valuable to that person. Same thing for you. If you just say, I'm looking for businesses that might want a better web presence, well, it's going to be crickets. They're going to ghost you, or they're going to say, well, I don't really know anyone. But if you have something specific that you can say, they're more apt to jog their mind and think of people. The example is this. Right now, I'm looking to help restaurants. I know that right now restaurants are having a difficult time getting people to come in because of XYZ. And my business right now is to focus on those candidates. Who do you know that owns a restaurant? Who are they thinking of right now? Restaurant owners, right? So each season you might think of someone. You might think of landscape contractors. Right now, it's turning to spring, and there's a lot of people that are looking online for landscape contractors. So we have a promotion going right now, and we're looking to get in front of those people to make sure that they are marketed effectively to capture that traffic. Who do you know that's a landscape contractor? Who is your landscaper? Now they're thinking who they know, and they can refer that business more readily to you, rather than if you're too broad and say, I'm looking for any business that might want more business, right? So the more specific you can be with the referral and the ideal client, the more likely you are to get a referral. So scheduling that next appointment. Anything worth doing once is worth doing again, right? So the fortune is in the follow-up. So it's successful if you can continue to build that relationship. If you have a networking meeting, schedule another one, another week, a month out, maybe another phone call in 2 weeks out. The idea is always have something on the books. And if you do get a referral, make sure that you schedule time in your calendar to contact that referral and then follow up. If you have a sales demonstration, make sure you have a time to follow up. If you have someone who is interested in a demo, but this week's not good, follow up. The idea is if you have things in your schedule and meetings that are scheduled in ink in your calendar, you're more likely to succeed. So I know we went over a crash course in B2B sales and marketing, but the idea is that it's important to take action, right? Taking action. Now, you can have the best of intentions and you want to learn all the information and you're going to become the best digital marketer by understanding the information and really going through all the videos and the materials to really get up to speed. But I'll tell you, until you take action, nothing's going to happen, right? So this week, here are your takeaways. 1, clearly define your goals and an action plan. How many websites do you need to sell in the next 20 weeks to reach your goal, right? Identify someone to hold you accountable, right? It could be a junior partner, a senior partner, another WebCenter owner, could be someone that you reach out to on our WebCenter Facebook group and say, hey, I'm looking to be held accountable. Who's willing to do this with me, right? Work on your candidate list. That's an ongoing activity. Learn, practice, and use the referral networking approach that we talked about tonight. Now, we're going to talk about other approaches and contacting businesses down the road and other weeks to come, but I'll tell you, learn and practice and use the referral networking approach because it's the fastest way to take action. And the last thing is don't wait, don't delay. Approach 2 per day for that networking appointment or a consultation appointment, right? You need to fail forward. You got to learn your mistakes. If we know that 1 out of every 4 demonstration appointments are going to result in a sale, that means that there's 3 no's. We also know that only 1 out of every 2 consultations are going to result in a sales appointment. So that means that there's 1 more rejection there. You have to realize that rejection in those no's is just timing, right? And you can follow up in the future. So I want you to take action this week and fail forward. What did I say to that one prospect or candidate that just, it didn't feel right? All right, great. Make an improvement. Don't try and craft the perfect approach. When in doubt, blurt it out. Just say it. You're more apt to have success if you take action rather than really figure out the perfect thing to say, because there really is no perfect thing to say. It's your personality, it's their timing, and it's being advantageous, right? So with that being said, I want to wish everyone a great week too. Be active on the WebCenter owner support groups. If you've got questions, make sure that you post them there, and you will have our most successful WebCenter owners and trainers answering those questions for you, right? If you have advanced questions or you're still not sure, email us, mawebcenters@marketamerica.com. We'll make sure that you have the right tools, resources. We'll point you in the right direction. But the most important thing is look for a WebCenter training in your area. I know there's one coming up, like we said, in New York. We've got one coming up in Virginia. We've got one coming up in Toronto. We've got some coming up in Arizona. So keep your eyes peeled to the GMTSS for WCT 101s and 201s. If there's nothing in your area, speak with your local coordinator. And your local coordinator, if they've got enough interest, they can bring in a trainer for a WebCenter training. So with that being said, congratulations on your first week in your 2020 WebCenter Olympics. And we're going to go ahead and answer some questions.